Okay, now you should be able to hear me. I'm sorry about that, everybody. This is what happened when Jared takes over and runs the show for a week. So again, welcome to another episode of Holotheatre. I'm Dan Tartaglione. Joining me tonight for the first time ever as a co-host is the Bat Mouse himself, Mr. Anthony Howard, who
That's
we
me.
just cut out video. And also joining us tonight is Steve Skilton. How you doing, man? I haven't seen you in a long time.
Yeah, I know. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, doing good. Doing the whole quarantine thing. I think life is slowly starting back up again.
Yeah, slowly. I can't wait. Worlds is in 2 weeks. Like, that's insane to me. Uh, so tonight, though, we're gonna talk. We're not gonna focus on the current meta. We're gonna actually talk a little bit about the retro, the Premiere to Death Star 2 leaks, the Premiere to Reflections 2 stuff. So all that stuff that people played years ago. So, for those who don't know, Steve, you basically are in charge of all that on GEP. Is this correct?
That is not correct, though.
That's
I'm in
not
charge
correct.
of nothing.
You're in charge of nothing, but you're like the go-to
You
guy
know,
when it comes to all the retro stuff.
I was streaming some stuff. I think Batmouse set up a couple of events. There was a history and a returning through time tour.
Mm-hmm.
One went forward through time, one through backwards, and that just kind of coincided with the past few months.
Oh, okay.
So
So,
thanks a lot, Batmouse, by the way.
Yeah, you're very welcome. I'm more than happy to give leagues to the masses whenever I can.
so
Yeah, it
you
was good. It was just something different just to try out.
so what got you into doing like that? Like, why are you playing like these older leagues versus the new stuff?
Oh, I stopped playing it open probably in 2017, and I'm probably in that band camp of people that have kind of fallen out and aren't coming back anytime soon. But in the meantime, I'm just trying to find ways to stay engaged with Star Wars and find
Mm-hmm.
other things to kind of connect to it. So whatever little projects here and there, whatever things can kind of keep me involved with the game, is just kind of what I've been kind of doing in the meantime.
Awesome. So yeah, you said you just I think you just mentioned it briefly. You're streaming older games. Is this correct?
I mean, yeah, I've been sitting in my house for a really long time, so we've gotten to the point where what's a way to hang out with people, and if I can stream and a few people pop in and hang out and chat that's a pretty good use of my evening.
And if you want to go ahead and what is your stream? What is it
So
under?
it's Steve to the Izzo, with the O being a zero
Okay, is it under Twitch?
on Twitch. Yep. So if you know me on the forums or in Slack or whatever, you know my handle. I have the same handle on Twitter as well.
So if you're interested in it, I just threw it up on screen. It will be actually right next to Steve. So that's his link to Twitch. So you said you were just streaming like right before you got on camera. That's kind of interesting. Like, what were you playing? Like, give us a little bit of a taste what you're doing.
Played my first game of Reflections 2 in quite a long time. I figured you said you were going to ask me about it, so I figured I'd kind of rush up.
I
Little
mean, that's
crash
what
course.
we got a. So we have a retro event going on in 2 weeks at Worlds. It's actually going to be the Friday morning before the team tournament. So are you brushing up for that by chance?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to be registered. I'll be there in DC. I'm really looking forward to seeing people. There's a lot of friends that I have not seen in person in a long time, so it's convenient. I live in Philadelphia, so it's a couple
Okay.
hours away. The retro event sounds like a lot of fun on Friday. I haven't played Reflections 2 format in paper probably since it came out, so that'll be a lot of
Mm-hmm.
fun too. And the Worlds, even if you don't play it open, the Worlds is a fun weekend, so I'm just looking forward to being
Oh
there.
yeah. So what made you go with like the retro versus like the open format?
Just don't play open, so I mean, I'm kind of on the outside looking in, but the retro is something that's casual and fun. I can pick up some cards, get a little nostalgia, play the game that I really liked back in the day, and play like this old format. So
Okay.
that's kind of what I was thinking.
And Batnouse has basically been the guy to who set all these events and everything. Like, do you message
Admirals did
him?
some of it, right? And then yeah, tournament committee as well, right?
Yeah, tournament committee's doing the pre-prep stuff for the Worlds, but for the retro event, Jared posting those events.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the back, the history tour and all of the other alternate format stuff, yeah, that's what I set up to, keep everybody playing as much as I can.
So,
I mean, it's great too because Star Wars. I think a lot of people play open because they want to be really competitive and they want something new and new puzzles to figure out. And I definitely think that competitive drive is a big part of it. But I mean, there's more to Star Wars. Like, there's the nostalgia. There's trying out different formats, playing casually when you're just kind of tired and don't feel like tracking the six around for 8 turns. So like the sealed events have been a lot of fun. The back through time, trying to figure out those puzzles. Like, formats that were out before the internet was a thing, like trying to Google Dagobah, Cloud City. I had one Dagobah deck stuck in my head from when I was like 13. That I think, if anybody remembers Ray Bordier, he played this deck inserts all the time. It was really annoying with Death Star plans and moving stuff around. Didn't battle, it just played inserts for the whole game. Being able to play that stuff on GEMP has been a lot of fun. GEMP has definitely been a great opportunity for just trying out new stuff.
So how does so you're playing that old school, very very grindy type of a format where not everything is pulled for you. You're playing with inserts. You're playing with a lot of those cards that have been shielded already, like Beggar. What are like some of those weird cards that you're seeing people play in these formats that somebody like me who plays in open is glad that we have shields for?
Geez, well, okay, Dangerous Time is definitely a good one. Like, once Jabba's Palace came out, or even Dagobah, like the manipulator decks, when they were able to manipulate your force pile and make it so you drew multiples and they monarched you, or you drew up and they would put it back down and just kept basically had the game locked down from turn one. Dangerous Time was a lot better than I expected, and it's something that if you hadn't played back at Jabba's Palace time, you probably didn't realize it. What it was like when it was like in its prime being played.
Yeah.
I think anyone playing in the throwback format who's been playing mostly on Jump is going to forget how annoying the meta is when you're playing with frozen assets and Beggar. Cards like Main Course and Operational as Planned, these little cards that are like very niche that help you get around the lockdown beatdown is definitely another thing that people have probably forgotten. But on the other side, there's like a lot of good stuff about it too. You get to pull out like there's a smaller card pool. So this is a thing you can solve, like a puzzle. You get to pull out like cards that you haven't played before in Premiere or from earlier sets, and then like it's just weird going back through time when CCGs were first started and like everything was just kind of a big experiment, and like the setup phase would take you like 8 turns to set up because things weren't getting pulled for you. It's just kind of a different world in some ways. Some formats were worse, some formats are better. The Death Star 2 format was a lot more balanced than I expected without shields.
So what are like some? So let's talk about the decks then. Like, what are some of the decks that you're enjoying to play in these older formats? Specifically, let's start with the Premiere 2 Reflections 2 because that's going to be the big retro event in 2 weeks.
Yeah, so I find it a little unfortunate. I think at the time when Reflections 2 came out, it was this thing that, the internet was just starting and it took us a while to solve it. At the time when States happened, I think Black Surgeon was a deck that was really popular. It played about 5 or 6 Emperors and used a lot of the manipulation of looking at your force pile. I think looking at the history of the game, like people were really excited because you started realizing what Star Wars, why this was a unique game and what weird types of things could happen in the game. Like looking at your force file and planning out your next few turns based on what was at the top and bottom was definitely pretty big. So yeah, Dark Surgeon will be a big one. But then this deck that really defines that meta, that warps the whole thing, is Watch Your Step. So everything is going to revolve around Watch Your Step, and that deck just has answers for everything. If you wanted to try to play Hunt Down Dueling, it's going to play Run Loop Run. If you wanted to play something else to ground, it has Lost in the Wilderness and multiples. There's the Han Tripler with Frozen Assets and Beggar. pick your poison, watch your steps really, really strong. That deck's really going to be the top for light side, which really narrows the meta, unfortunately.
Yeah.
While back in the day when we were playing, that was one of the last decks to be figured out before Tatooine came out. It took people a long time to figure it out, but now in hindsight, we know what the strength is.
Yep, being an 80 card deck. That's
So
that's the biggest strength.
So what kind of tips do you give people who are going to this event who aren't really familiar in playing back in that time period? Do you have any like tips or anything to give to these people?
The best tip is start with the top decks just to know what the framework of the format is. You might have your favorite deck that you really like, but you kind of need to play it once or twice against the top decks to know where its weaknesses are going to be. And that's okay. If like there's like the Tommy Johnny Spike or Timmy Johnny Spike type thing, and if you're happy playing 6 games and like your deck works for 2 of them or 1 of them, and it like you have fun, then the event, then that's fine. But just kind of know what the format is. So if you wanted to find the good decks, I think that they're in Gemp. I think that they have there's a few like decks we've loaded up, or also they were on the forums, right? And the other good place is looking in the archives. There's lots of decks in there and tournament reports from back in the day.
And I want to say, like, oh, go ahead, Matt Mouse.
If you can, if you can get into it, check deck because deck still has some of that stuff. If you can get Wayback Machine or even figure out how to get in now, because I'm not even sure. But I know that deck has a ton of stuff that if we can get access to it, there's just a pile of lists that you could go through.
Yeah, that's a good time to plug in too. I brought a lot of the old Wayback Machine deck tech stuff up. If you go to my website, it's my name, stevenskilton.com/decktech_archives. There's all the decks are on there that I was able to recover. There's a link to tournament reports on there. And if you go to my GitHub account, it's the same thing as my handles for everything else. I have like all the other stuff that I didn't recover somewhere. If someone wants to keep working on stuff that's around, you can always shoot me some information. It's all open source, but yeah. Deck tech unfortunately didn't last forever, but we were able to go back and recover quite a lot of it.
Do you want to go ahead and give us that website again so we can put it in the chat for people?
Yeah, sure. Let me type this up right now. / I believe this is it, but someone could correct me if it's correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
I'm watching with the
type. I was going to say because yeah, I want to say like I was going to say about that like you went through a lot of the deck tech archives and tried to bring in some of that stuff that people lost throughout the years, and I was going to ask you where you put that, and you have your own website. That's amazing. Like, is the PC helping you with this, or is this just something that you've been doing on your own?
It was actually not that difficult to do. So I got the Wayback Machine. There was some tool to download everything. And then GitHub had a lot of built-in integrations where it made it pretty simple. It's just a couple weekends, a night here, a night there, to get it all like something really simple online so people could access it. I'm a programmer by day, so for me, it's like I had some familiarity with all this stuff. Kind of, the website was already existing. That was just how I got my first job. So. The funny part is I recovered a lot of this stuff, and I had a couple of emails from people that were embarrassed by what they had like written 20 years ago, and they never thought it would see the light of day, and they've asked me to take it down.
Please make sure you delete anything that I have from Deck Tech. It was bad. I don't want it to see the light of day. Like, 20 years ago, Dan is something that should remain 20 years ago.
There are a lot of things that are better off being lost to time. The one thing that I enjoyed from the 90s that we don't do enough now is coming up with clever deck names.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Like, so speaking of which, like can you think of like some of the deck names that you've seen throughout the years, like some of those good ones?
Can't repeat any of them, no.
Oh, come on.
But like,
give us one.
But like,
give us one.
No, I'm not gonna do it. But Dark Surgeon's one. Like everybody knows when you talk about Dark Surgeon, you know what that deck is. So I mean, stuff like that. Batmouse, do you remember any good ones that are suitable for on air?
All I know is that there is at least a probably a half a page list of things that end in done right. If I'm not wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
Done right.
I was gonna say, KTOD has made at least a dozen different. I want to say it was like Dark Side Senate. KTOD Dark Side Senate done right was one of the ones I remember. I know they made some good ones. Reed Smith probably has like the craziest names out of anybody. I'm not going to even bring up some of the stuff I remember from him. Yeah, I can't remember anything else. Like I know Johnny Chu has his X-wing hidden base deck. I forget there's like a good name for that, but
Oh, what was the deck that Sokol had that won Worlds? The Brigham deck. It was the Machine.
yeah, yeah, that one's fun.
So that's another one too. Yeah, if you come up with a clever, there's also funny ones out there. But yeah, but interestingly enough, speaking of the Watch Your Step meta, I think Skrillings was really popular, but no deck list exists for it in the archives. Like I know TJ Holman played that a lot, and it was referenced in tournament reports, but I couldn't dig it up at all. So, if anybody shows up to Worlds with a Skrillings deck, I'll be impressed. They did not cheat. They had to use their own memory to pull that together.
Now that you say Skrillings, I distinctly remember getting my face beat in by I think it was the Advocate. Scotland Girl had a Skrillings deck at one point on Gem,
Yeah.
And he beat my face in with it. And I was like, oh, well, I guess I just lose now. Everything I do is, not going to work. So I'll just, I can see.
You remember how he beat you in? Was just the Skrillings had a bunch of power, or were there any really good red cards that he had up his sleeve?
So I think the biggest part was he kept stealing my weapons. And like one of my characters would die. Oh, I'll take your weapon. Okay. So I'm playing mains for some odd reason, and now I no longer have a weapon, and I'm not gonna be able to retrieve my weapon. Okay, and then Skrilling after Skrilling after Skrilling, and then he beat me down. But
that sounds like Scott.
My only hope would be to, hit somebody. But he had all my guns, he had all my lightsabers, he had everything that I needed to actually win a game against that deck. Yeah. Oh, bye now. And that's how that went. But that it was a very fun. Like, I think that was the very first time anybody had played a Skrilling against me that did anything, and I was like, oh, that is super cool. Now I kind of want to try that, and then that led me down like a Batmouse deck level of intrigue, which didn't turn out very well, but it was very fun while we did it.
Here's the big question: is will this year's Worlds, will you be there, and will Scott be able to beat you down again?
I will be at Worlds. I'm hoping that I do not get beat down by Skrillings at Worlds, but yeah, I will be there mainly to lose and see everyone. I don't want to lose, but I'm probably going to lose.
We'll make sure you lose. But no, I mean, so
you might make sure I lose.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you said that you're coming in on Friday, so you won't be able to play in the retro event, Anthony.
No, I will not be able to play in the retro event. A couple people who have been desperately saying, "Oh, will you look at this deck for me?" For the retro event. I'm like, I will look. I won't be there, but I will gladly take a look at the deck for you and give my honest opinion of what you should do in that format. Play TTO.
I can't see.
All right, so my big question is, when did each of you start playing the game, and how much do you remember from back at the Decipher era?
That's a good question. I was going to ask you that.
It's a really great question.
Well, okay, since you started it, let's start with Batmouse. Batmouse, when did you start?
So I've been collecting since Star Wars came out, but I was a Star Trek player and a Lord of the Rings player, and there was no play group in my area, so I didn't start playing Star Wars until 2009. Is when I actually started, and
wow.
So remembering the Cypher era. Oh, I remember. I could tell you a ton of what happened in the Star Trek era, a ton of what happened in the Lord of the Rings era. But the Star Wars era, I'm like, oh, I will go pick up a new pack because they're available. But I had no one to play with, so there was no point in really heavily investing in a collection then. And then, unfortunately decided to lost the license. I'm like, oh, I'll just pick up a couple boxes of this newer stuff because it's going for dirt cheap. And so I, been able to build a collection off of, dirt
So
cheap.
you started after it was out of print and still managed to get beat down by Scott with Skrillings.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for reminding me that the Decipher cards that I never learned about, never saw, first run, made me sad for an afternoon. Probably a couple afternoons because I tried to build my own Skrilling deck too.
Yeah, why would you do that to yourself?
I'm Batmouse.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, Steve, when did you start?
I started when it first came out, so I started with Premiere, although I was probably about 12 years old when Premiere came out, so I wasn't really competitive until around, like, Endor-ish, around that point in time, 98. So, and I didn't travel a lot back in the day either. So, like, my view of what was out was pretty narrow compared to a lot of people. I know Hayes traveled a lot, Chu traveled a lot, a lot of those folks were really active, Scott. So they had a much bigger view of what was out, but it was pretty popular in my area. We played a lot, figured out what we could from the internet, and played all the way through. I think I ended up leaving right after Coruscant, so I didn't see the tail end of the game. Kind of went to college, and then I remember bits and pieces. So I remember like inserts decks, but I think Java's Palace to us, we were figuring things out. But then Special Edition, I remember all the erratas and figuring out decks and playing Harvest a bunch of times all the way up, when Reflections 2 came out. So it's funny though, because you ask some people, you'll ask like Hayes or someone else from back in the day, and they'll give you a full rundown of any format. But then you ask other people, like I sent a text to Chu, and it's just like, I don't remember anything. I got nothing. So it's interesting to see, like, I'm sure Scott's a wealth of knowledge when it comes to all the tricks and stuff he came up with back in the day. But then somebody else is just drawing a blank, and they'd have to start from scratch to figure out the format again.
Yeah, I started collecting it back in like when it first came out as well. I actually didn't really get a lot of Premiere. Like I got the 2-player box set, and then I didn't even realize the game was out. It was unbeknownst to me. So I went and then I started with my first pack was actually Hoth. And then from there, I collected it. But I actually didn't start playing. My first event was right around Endor. So
wow.
Yeah,
so the game was in full swing there and then.
So much of it and everything. And
I don't know if people remember, but like the 90s was a dead zone for Star Wars because nothing had come out since like, Return of the Jedi. And then in the 90s, it like the news in like Star Wars magazine was like the elephant that played the bantha died last week. Like that was like the most exciting thing in the Star Wars world.
Yeah.
So having these cards come out was like a huge like bonanza of stuff at a time when there wasn't really a lot going on for Star Wars.
Well, I mean, they had the special editions came out in around like about the same time, and once the special...
was that 97 that the special edition came out?
Yeah.
Or 90s?
It was like
so
like
even
96,
still
97.
Yeah, but still there was when Premiere came out there was nothing.
Yeah.
So it was definitely pretty interesting. It was interesting having something going on. Yeah, special edition was going on, but Star Wars hadn't really picked up for a little while after that.
We had the books. You had the Empire, all that stuff. But agreed, there was nothing visual. And a lot of people key on the visuals to keep them interested in things. So
yeah,
books
I think
didn't
even
do much for those.
Also, like, what the books had just come out, like, 93 or so? Like, that was just starting with the Timothy Zahn, and they were just coming out as the game came out. So, yeah, it was interesting having stuff come out. I remember the card game came out, and all that stuff was in the card game. And then, like, the first week, there was a tournament, like a league at, like, the game shop. And it was just really strange to me to have Star Wars up there with Magic.
Yeah, and it's funny because like I remember back in the day, like Star Wars was like neck and neck with Magic until literally till the very end. Like Pokemon came on as like the number two really quickly just because of kids, but like, Star Wars was like the big thing next to Magic.
Yeah, so, and going back to like me playing retro events, so like I hadn't played. I mean, Premiere Only is it's been on GIMP for a while. It's been pretty popular, and
Mm-hmm.
like Premiere Only has like, including like A New Hope, it has like the Sense Alter Wars, and you kind of grappling hook one and cancel it with the other, and that kind of like evens it out for the game. But at the time, like I hadn't played Cloud City or I hadn't played Dagobah's or Hoth like since it came out. And at the time when it came out, I had limited card pool and I was just a kid, so I hadn't really thought the way we think now about games. So it definitely was interesting looking back on it.
Yeah. So is there like a format that you're not really a fan of? Like you were talking about the premiere where it's always like sack wars and everything, even with like A New Hope, Dagobah bringing in the inserts and numbers and all that. Like, is there a format you're not a fan of?
Probably most of the game, looking back, I'm really surprised the game was successful. I wonder how people had the patience to sit for 8 or 10 turns and try to play out, like draw into every, like it took so long to do stuff. And sometimes things were just so broken, like at times of Dagobah and Jabba's Palace. Uh,
Yeah.
I think a lot of it was just game theory. We hadn't known a lot about games at the time. We didn't know about like why would Watch Your Step be good with all the
Mm-hmm.
drawbacks. And we didn't like, people were just experimenting with games. I mean, games were brand new and it was kind of the Wild West, and like, and they weren't broken. They weren't figured out at that point in time either. So
Yeah.
yeah, maybe the collectors drove it. It's just really interesting that it survived till now. I think if I were to go back, I would almost rather play each format with like 1 or 2 cards banned just to try it out because I feel like
Mm-hmm.
you could play it a lot better. Dagobah's so bad with inserts, and Tatooine's so bad with pod racing. It's
Yeah.
just if only 1 or 2 cards were missing, it would give you a new puzzle to solve and maybe make the game more enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can
We
I
kind
can
of
see that.
accidentally did that in GIMP. Yeah, we kind of accidentally did that in GIMP when we had the Death Star 2 event. That event had a lot of people play in it, and
Yeah.
having a couple cards missing was a big like thing to try to fix or try to figure out.
Yeah, because they're think what the enhanced Jabba Palace had for a long time been in the PDS2 format, and then it got removed, and that removed like No Escape and
Yeah.
some other answer, Honor of the Jedi, and then so you had to balance through there.
Yeah, that completely dropped out like Hunt Down and made the whole thing different to try to solve. And at the same time, Frozen Assets and Beggar were missing, which normally those are negative cards, but at the time, Darkseid was so strong that that just kind of evened things out a little bit.
Makes sense. And notice, like, I don't see. Is there? I haven't seen like any sort of ban list or anything for this retro event. Do you think people are going to bring those cards that aren't in GIMP to it, like Beggar and Frozen Assets, stuff like that?
Of course, I mean, there's no reason for them not to. So I think a lot of people will forget that they exist and they'll have been playing without them, and there'll be some adjustment. Hopefully, people like remember at least before 5 minutes before the event and think about it a little bit. But
Yeah.
it'll definitely be a big change from playing online.
Now, do you think it's going to benefit, like, say, the older player versus a new guy who's just playing it on GIMP just to have some fun?
Really, I think there's some people out there that just remember how these decks play out. They remember how to set up Frozen Assets and run Luke run over with the Han Tripler, like interrupt and like
Mm-hmm.
set that up really well. I think the people that remember that and have like that muscle memory, they'll be able to like win those games. And the people that don't remember the counterplay just as well are gonna have a little bit of a disadvantage.
Makes sense. Okay.
Hopefully, people still have fun though.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what decks people come and play. Are people gonna be able to borrow all the Emperors and Lukes they need, or are they gonna play their favorite deck from back in the day?
Well, I know I have a bunch of Lukes and Emperors myself, but I think they're all spoken for. So
Yeah, and if you're a new player, it's kind of tough to like. I mean, I don't think people like borrowing cards in general. I think people prefer to own them.
yeah.
If you notice, people always say, "Oh, you could borrow cards," and no one ever actually goes and does it. They usually end up just buying them or playing something
I don't
else.
know with the
Especially if you're a new player, it's really tough too. It's these big events. It's tough walking into a room with 60 people you've never met before and
True.
trying to figure it all out.
I don't know. Are you ready to spend like what? How much is the Luke right now? $250 on just
Isn't it
one.
up to 3 now? It's a lot. It's a lot of money.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm gonna have to borrow. I've got a couple, so I'm okay for a little bit. But yeah, it's a shame how things have spiked and that part's just kind of closed off.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what's going on with that market.
Okay. So speaking of Worlds, really quick, just as a reminder, Worlds is 2 weeks from today. Currently, we have 43 players registered for the event. Actually, no, we're up to 44. It looks like somebody can't really do math. Well, no. Casey's gonna play. So we have Casey, Rob, Brad Reinhold, Hayes Hunter, and Logan all only for the main event. Nobody's registered for the throwback event only, so maybe some of these players who are registered to play in the regular event will be in the throwback. Again, Worlds is going to be the weekend of October 7th through 10th. If you need any more information on it, just go ahead and check the forums. If you want to pre-register, it ends next Friday, so you have until then to pre-register to get the pre-registration foil as well as the other prizes. I know there's going to be a lot of prize support going on for it, so make sure you get there pre-registered. Again, the pre-registration prize is going to be either a foil communing Qui-Gon, communing Obi-Wan, or communing Yoda, so you get one of those. And then checking up on the OCS, no real changes since last couple weeks ago. Tom Struthers is still in. He's sitting at 11-1. DJ Jackson is sitting at 10-2. Drew Lichtenstein is 9-3, and Jared Napolitano is also 9-3. But all those players got to worry because Chris Call is sitting here at 8-1. So Joker King, I know you're in the chat. Nice job getting out to 8-1. And then Brad Kipple also sitting at 7-1. So we have some people who might be able to make a play for this month. I know there's a lot of individuals who might be able to make it. I know there's like 7 spots open for this month. So we'll see what happens. And then also in the chat, because it's Batmouse's first show as a co-host, we're going to give away some Gemp packs. So, Batmouse, how do you want to do this?
That's a good question. Let take everyone gets a number, I guess,
Okay.
would be
Okay.
the best way.
Okay, so everybody in the chat, if you're watching right now, or you know what, Steve, I'm going to include you in on this. So say Batmouse, and then that's going to be your number. And later on in the show, we'll do 3 rolls to see who gets a pack.
Wait, the chat's follower only. Hold on. Got it.
So just say Batmouse, and then later on in the show, we'll give away 3 Gemp packs. So in honor of Mr. Batmouse himself, Mousebat.
Not bad.
Mousebat, that works.
That still works, yeah. That's obviously Jerry or
That's Joker King.
was that Jerry?
That's Joker
Oh,
King.
that'll work too.
Okay. So while we're doing that, let's go ahead and get into some swing and a miss questions. It's all going to be about the retros and stuff like that. So our first question of the night. The World's Throwback event will see at least 30 people play in it. Okay, we're going to start with Steve on this one.
We have to say yes, right? You have to hype up the event. So yes, there'll be like half as many as the Death Star 2 event. So there'll be like 50 players. I don't know. I think there'll be 30. I think we can probably.
Well, I mean, right now we only have 44 players registered for the entire weekend.
I think the main event will be up to like 60 or 80. We did a throwback event a few years ago, right around the reset for Hoth, and that still managed to pick up like 20 or 25 players. So Premier through Hoth can pick up 20 or 25 and go on. Then this can definitely hit 30.
Okay.
I'm also really looking forward to see. I know there's a couple of new players or returning players that are showing up. So.
Okay. Batmouse, what do you say?
Again, played before, so.
I mean, you're not going to be there playing it.
No, here's what happened. So Batman losses out, the first 4 rounds, and then he shows up for round 5 and 6. Hey, look, you have another player.
I don't think they can do that.
It gives them another player.
It gives
And
them another play. I mean, it gives them a warm body. Like,
I don't know about warm. I mean, BC can
Rename the
be
buy
pretty
the
high.
Bat Mouse. So when people get the buy, they've gotten the Bat Mouse. Is that what we're gonna say?
They got the Bat Mouse when they get
I
the
like
buy.
that. So the buy, it's now the Bat Mouse. I like that. And you know what? I can see at least 30. I can see at least most of the people wanting to play who've signed up for the weekend, wanting to play in the throwback event. I mean, maybe they'll have a deck. Honestly, I don't know. Like, the fact that we have 43 people sign up for Worlds right now, I know if Hayes he's going to want to play. Justin Desai is going to want to play. I can see like Joe, Jared playing. Maybe Scott. So yeah, you know what? I'm going to say yeah. I can see the 30 people.
I mean, we've all been in like lockdown for a long time. We finally get together. It'd be great to have everybody come out and have as much fun as they could for the weekend.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Absolutely, and not to be, the guy, but have you seen the prize pool for the retro event, people?
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
It's pretty nuts.
Yeah, that's pretty. It's a pretty good point.
That's a good
I should be playing a lot more games.
I will say this though: this event will be televised on Twitch, so we will have this event streamed. I won't be playing, and I want to say Bill Kafer is going to help me with the streaming as well. So Bill won't be playing either.
Big props. There's not a lot of like really good old school content on video, and it's gonna be great to have that out there, have that streamed, and and archived on YouTube or wherever else we put it. And for anyone that didn't make it is interested in Star Wars, and it's a great way for the community to reach out to other players too, that to get them active, coming back to the game, or people that are nostalgic. So.
Okay, on to question number 2. Mind what you have learned and bring him before me will be the most played decks at the World's Throwback event. Let's start with Batmouse this time.
Mind what you have learned. I don't think so. So that one's a swing and a miss. That's a swing and a miss. Again, Watch Your Step is there. That prevalent. That'll probably be the most played. The Dark Side has multiple decks that I would play. Bring them before me right there.
Mm-hmm.
I would really rather push people towards playing TTO. Play TTO because it actually has a chance against Watch Your Step. And that's, I'd rather see that. But yeah, swing and a miss on both because just with everything that you could possibly play, why would you lump yourself into what everyone probably wants to play?
That's fair. Okay, what do you think, Scott or Steve?
I think Watch Your Step is definitely going to be the top most game. So Mind What You Learned, I would say no. I think people are going to like it. A lot of people are going to play that, but I don't think that'll be the top one. For Dark Side, I don't even know. Bringham's kind of up there, but I would put ISB. There's Scum builds that are okay. What's the one I'm missing? I'm forgetting one that's really good.
ISB.
And there's like one other. ISB is pretty decent with Big Blue. That was kind of pretty resilient against Watch Your Step. Hunt Down's pretty decent.
Skrillings.
Yeah.
Skrillings. No, you know what? I think you guys hit the nail though.
And
Light Side.
Black Sun's the big one.
Oh yeah, Black Sun. I don't know. Like I think I agree with you guys that Watch Your Step's probably going to be the most played Light Side deck. It is insanely good from that era. The fact that Dark Side, I would want to play Imp Command because you want to get rid of those Battle Destinies. I mean, I don't know. Like, I didn't really. I played a little bit back then. And I remember Watch Your Step being insanely good, and it was like ridiculously hard to beat. I don't know. The machine that you said is just so good and so fun to play, but the fact that once they're flipped and you lose all your ability to play Sense and Altars, it's just turns it off.
The big part too is when they flip, you not being able to activate from non-battlegrounds is also a big hindrance. So I mean, Dark Surge is also the default for anyone that like can get the Emperors and remembers that period. That's what people just remember, like mentioned from that
Yeah.
time. So that's kind of a default as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this one's a miss on both accounts. Okay, let's talk question number 3. The winner of the World's Throwback event will also make the top 8 of the main event. We're going to start with Steve on this one.
It depends. Some of the folks that want to make the top 8 don't want are saying either or. They want to focus all on one or the other. Are you saying it has to be the winner in both, or the winner can be in top 8?
No. So the winner of the Throwback is going to make the top 8 in the main event.
Yeah, I want to go yes. I think someone's going to be.
Yeah. Batmouse, what do you think?
I'm gonna go no, because I feel like the winner is gonna be someone coming out of the blue that that is the time period that they love to play. They love the Premier Ref 2 format, and so they're gonna go all out because that's their
a good
Super
point.
Bowl. That's their Super Bowl. They're gonna win their Super Bowl, and that being said, they may not be as focused, as competitive a player in the open format. It may even be someone that's only registered or I know there was someone that was only registered previously or was only gonna play in the Throwback, and then someone talked him into playing the entire weekend.
Who is that? Do you know?
I think that was Morgan 28.
Okay.
I know at one point he was only going to come up for just a Throwback, and then somebody talked him into playing the whole weekend, which is a good move. Obviously, we want more players.
If Bastion was able, if Bastion was allowed into the country, that would be like this would be like a slam dunk answer, right?
Well, I mean,
it'd be really easy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the players who did well in the retro event from earlier this year, and I'm thinking like Justin Desai, Joe Olsen, Bastion, Hayes. Those are all players who had the potential to make the top 8 in the main event as well. Bastion, unfortunately, is working that weekend, so no Bastion.
Pat Mouse has a good point that it's like you focus on one or the other, and you can be good at one or the other, but you can't be good at both. And I could see someone doing that.
Yeah.
In the future, it'd be great if there was some way that multi-formats was a thing that was valued somehow into an event, but it's really tough to do.
Oh yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. And maybe we'll start doing like more of these retro events after this year. Like if we can get a lot of people to come out to this one, why not have them like on a Friday morning? Like we can make this into a really fun weekend and change up the formats. Like instead of just doing Premiere to Reflections 2 this year, we can do like, I don't know, Premiere and A New Hope next year. So, something completely different.
Yeah, or there's some years where Java is drastically different from Open, and it's a really good change to the mix, and people really enjoy. Sometimes people enjoy Java more, so that's become really successful in the format too.
Episode 1 format.
No,
all the Jedi. All the Jedi.
All the Jedi.
Format.
Yeah.
All of the Jedi.
IRL.
Well, then the PC has to give us the packs. I don't think the PC has enough money to get packs for everybody to play all the Jedi.
They have them in a garage. They're
randomizers. We'll pull together like 4 or 5 cubes, and then we'll just randomize them.
There you go. I was also going to say what we could do is just get somebody to donate their collection, and we just make we make packs. Kevin, like what kind of like what Kevin Yop and Chris Menzel did. Make packs. Just for the event.
Just cut up all those uncut sheets that the PC has lying around.
Oh yeah, that's a reasonable answer.
Yeah.
It works. It'll work fine.
I regret cutting up mine when I was younger. Never going to do that again. Okay, last question of the night. This is going to be kind of fun. So, Scotland Gorell will make the top 8 of the World's Throwback event.
I'll answer first. True.
We're going to go with Batmouse starting. Okay, is the Skrilling Man going to be make the top 8?
Yeah, it's a hit because he's the boss, and why would we not say no? He's going to make it. He'll do it.
Make it.
It's
Okay. Steve?
In hilarious fashion.
You know what? I think that's the important thing is he's going to be in hilarious fashion.
think the
There'll be
better
a
question
story.
is. I think the better question is how many out of commissions will he be playing?
Well, he can play the combo.
There is a prize to the first person that hears Scott Lingle telling a story about how he absurdly beat someone down using some obscure combination of cards.
Yeah, I can see that. Out
I
of
want a
anything,
timestamp for the first time it happens.
we gotta get Scott. Whatever he plays, we're gonna have him on stream at some point, just because of Scott. Uh, don't get me wrong. I love Scott and everything, but I'm gonna say miss. He's just got too much going on in his life.
It's still doable for him. And you know what? 50 gem gold bounty to whoever gets the worst beatdown from Scott Lingrell in the throwback event.
Okay, there we go. I like that.
Is this event diff? I hope it's diff. Also, I feel like you're just being contrarian. I don't think you really believe that.
Maybe. Batmouse, you better post that in the forums. In the
I will
world.
put that in the forum.
Okay.
I will put that up there.
Okay.
That mouth is throwing around a lot of gem gold here.
He is.
Well, not gem gold packs, but gem gold.
Well, we're gonna do packs
only
in a little
one
bit.
person wins that. Yeah.
A lot of electrons moving.
Okay.
For you, no charge.
Okay, really quickly, before we end up on everything tonight, deck building challenge is still active for this month. It is just winning a game where the Holotheatre is your starting site. Again, we've only had one person. We've only had two people. Two people have submitted. So we have two people submitted. Come on, people. This is an easy one. Just get out there and win a game with the Holotheatre. That's all you got to do. That's easy. Okay.
Should be easy.
Should be easy. Also,
you get that bonus activation.
Yeah. Next week we are so right now we have introduced the new Holotheatre Awards called the Hollies. And you, the viewers, are going to get your opportunity to vote on all these awards. We have, I believe it's 7 categories. So the link is in the forums right here. Once you go to the forums and click on the link, it'll bring you up to this page. And we have a few categories. The first one is the biggest Holotheatre fan. Nominees are Chris Hall, Joker King, Wayne Cullen, W. Cullen, Bill Kafer, Taco Bill, and Adam Fletcher, Echo Base Trooper. The best deck builder, Justin Desai, Timo Dussel, Tom Struther, and Paul Myers. The most memorable guest or guests, Jerry Darcy, Kevin Yop, and Chris Menzel, Timo Dussel and Chris Hall, and Chris Kelly. The best on-air moment or episode, when Mike Kessling and Chris Worth were talking about splitting up a bed. Timo Dussel being half asleep when he came on to a show at 3 a.m. Andrew Moss coming on to discuss the thoughts behind the Rescue the Princess V. And Charlie Arlinson discussing how he played his 12th OCS game in the car. We have the best dressed player, Vic from Bali, Matt Lutz, Scott Lingrell, or Chris Kelly. Best co-host, not named Jerry, Robbie, Chris, or Scott. Those are Justin Desai, Justin Mishiro, Matt Lutz, or Kendall Hallman. And last but not least, the best meme. And we actually have all the memes you can choose from up on there. So just go ahead and click those, and we'll have the award winners next week.
Vote, people. Vote early and vote often.
Oh, you can only vote once. But okay, before we do our challenge for Steve, let's go ahead and get see who's going to win those packs tonight. So we're going to give Batmouse is going to give 3 packs away. I have random number generator already loaded. We have had 5 people say Batmouse. So we're going to roll 3 times, and those are going to be the people who win. So the first one goes to King of Jokers, so that's Joker King, Chris Hall. Chris Kelly Esquire wins a pack. And S. Squarelock also wins a pack. Or you know what, Batmouse? We've only had 5 people win. 5 people enter. Why don't you just give everybody in the chat who said...
I'm gonna give everybody.
Yeah, just give everybody a pack.
But they've all got to private message me on the forums.
You know what?
Somewhere.
No, they don't.
Well, if you can get me a list, that would work just as well.
I'll just message you in the GEMP lobby. That seems like a good spot.
That's even better because then I actually have your GEMP screen and can hand out prizes.
So everybody in the GEMP lobby, send a message to Batmouse.
Everybody
right
who is watching right now, go message Batmouse in the GEMP lobby, and he'll send you a pack.
Yes.
Anybody who's watching.
Everyone watching, go message me in the lobby. I will send you a pack. If that entire screen fills up, maybe I send you 2 packs.
Okay, really quick, Steve, are you ready? So we're not going to do a lore challenge tonight. Like, I know we've been doing the lore challenge for a while, so tonight we're going to do something a little new. I'm going to give you the 0 side of an objective. You got to tell me what the 7 side is.
Okay. If it's anything in open, I'm going to be like in for a hurting. So
no, it's not. Your objective challenge is agents in the court.
Oh, Jesus. So I have to tell you what the 0 side is?
You have to tell me what the 7 side is.
The 7 side? 7 side, you put a hand for your card. You can
no, you don't have to tell me what it does. You just have to tell me the title.
Oh, agents in the court. Oh, I have no idea. Agents of the court and no agents. It's agents of black. So I can't even get the 0 side done ready that you got me. So I've got nothing.
Yeah, if you're watching the screen right now, it's Agents of the Court is the 0 side. It's the light side. Jabba's Palace objective.
I got nothing.
Batmouse, you got anything?
No. They will be lost and confused because I am.
Nobody? Anybody in the chat?
Everyone, jumps directly on Jeff.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Everybody's jumping right into to the Scomp link or the Com link on their phone.
How hard was this one to know?
Yeah, the 7 side of the objective is no love for the Empire.
Oh.
No time for love, Dr. Jones.
I should have studied.
Well, I mean, and the weird part is, I told you, like I said, we're gonna. I gave you the rundown before the show.
Yeah, well, I didn't understand it.
I thought you were gonna do text, and you were.
I was too busy streaming. I was streaming a last minute game. I got things to do. I could get these questions right, or I could play half a game of Star Wars.
Okay, well, before we go tonight, I want to show off this. This is a little something from the PC as a commemorate, as a thank you to myself, Robbie, and Jerry for doing 100 episodes of Holotheatre. I'm currently have done 98 myself, so when we do our live episode at Worlds, it'll be my 100th. But they sent us this little trophy, so just going to show it off. So again, I want to thank the PC for supporting the show for the last 103 episodes now. Don't worry, I know Chris Goglin has a little bit more episodes than me and Holotheatre, but we'll catch up to you at some point. So, but again, Thanks everybody for watching. Go ahead and get your votes in for the Hollies. Again, we'll be doing that next week. Next week, I'm going to try and get on Jerry and Robbie, being that it's the Hollies episode and everything. And we'll talk a little bit about, we'll have those. We'll talk a little bit about Worlds, and we'll talk a little bit about the people prepping for Worlds. So until then, again, I want to thank Batmouse for coming on as my co-host for the first time. And Steve, thank you for coming on as the guest host.
Thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you guys at Worlds.
Indeed. So
I just want to remind everybody that there's a reason why I have a Batmouse as my hero shirt.
Okay.
And that is Dan is terrible at fantasy football, and let's all remember that.
good night, everybody, and see you next week.